This is Driving Solutions, exclusively on CBTNews.com.
You probably recognize these two people I'm joined by again today, as they have both been significant impacts in the automotive space during their careers, and both have been on with us previously. Kathryn Schifferle, who's the founder and chief vision officer of Work Truck Solutions. She's been helping dealers and many other partners see and capitalize on opportunities in the commercial vehicle segment over the last 12 years or so. And of course, Jim Press, who is the former president of Toyota North America, president vice chair of Chrysler Companies, and along with his roles in retail with McLarty Companies over the last decade, and senior advisor to Work Truck Solutions for the past 5 years. So welcome to you both. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to join me on the show.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
So since we last spoke on the air about 2 months ago, a lot has happened, not only in our country, but in the automotive space as well. Sticking with automotive, there have been several media stories about the big three OEMs and their focus on on the commercial vehicle business. Jim, with your background at the OEM level, can you speak to this and offer some insight as to why this has become such an area of emphasis with vehicle manufacturers? Well, I mean, it's something that's really so significant right now that so many OEMs are looking at this area as a profit center for dealers, right?
Absolutely, Jim. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you on this. And I feel that a number of things have occurred. One of them is I get questions all the time by dealers and friends that say, when's the business going to come back to normal? You know, Jim, this is normal.
This is normal. This is the new normal. This is it.
This is the new normal. And so we've come out of the tailwind from a lot of things in COVID and other elements that made it very favorable. But this is the real world.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the domestic automakers have hit a wall on their EV issues. They were investing heavily, and they felt that a return on that investment would be much faster based on the acceptance of the customers. Well, it's slowed down.
Yeah.
So they need to make sure that they can generate profit to invest for future technology.
Yeah.
And the second thing that's happened is to winnie down the most profitable model they could. A lot of non-truck products have been shed. And so we're in the truck and SUV market. That market at retail has become more competitive. Interest rates and that its prices have gone up. And the marketing costs and incentives in those retail levels are pretty high. And so all of that leads us to the commercial business as being the best use of the investments in their trucks, expanding into mobility, and also, I think, investing into the future where they can generate profits for other technology, which will allow them to expand by market against the competitors. One competitor has a very large share of the commercial market.
Mm-hmm.
So if you listen to what they're saying, Christine Fuel, who's the new Ram CEO, said that Ram Professional is really their highly profitable, good margin business that's going to expand in the future. Jim Farley told me, and I think he announced that they had a fairly good revenue increase, about 6.5%, and Ford Pro itself earned about $2.6 billion. That's about a 15% margin, which is much better than the retail business. So yeah. I think you'll continue to see this shift into the commercial business and allowing support for dealers. And what that means for dealers is they're going to get help from the manufacturer where they want to go. That's going to be easier, maybe a little better path for them to go in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that certainly points out a significant emphasis on the commercial business from manufacturers. Kathryn, how does what the OEMs are doing impact the approach for dealerships?
Because they have increased their focus on this, because they've recognized that commercial is a stable growth business. They're investing, and they're investing in, and I'll talk a little bit about some of our projects. So the OEMs are looking at how do we raise up the inventory that the dealers have invested in and show them on their tier one sites. So we're seeing that. That helps everyone. And you know, the mantra is, how do we shorten days to turn? And because commercial vehicles are complex, they're a multi-stage, upfitting, which is the term for adding the important part, the part that the vocational business uses it for. Because that's been so opaque, they're also looking at how do we gain better visibility into what's actually happening, kind of for the first time.
Sure.
All this time, the OEMs haven't known what's been put on the vehicles. And so those are the two big focuses that they have, and both of them will help the dealers to be stronger in their being able to display and merchandise their inventory, because commercial, although it's a regional market business, there's a lot, because the vehicles are unique. There's also a lot of opportunity to sell them out of the market if you have them, based on a demand for a unique vehicle.
Yeah.
And so, it's all about multi-channel, omni-channel, right? That's
right.
That's the goal right now, omni-channel. So between listing vehicles appropriately with all the data and the configuration on their tier 3 site, and now the OEM's tier 1 site. And then of course we launched a national marketplace called Comvoy, COMVOY, coming up on our 5-year anniversary in November, which has really taken storm, especially recently, because we've also added a component to it that talks about commercial EVs, which EVs for commercial is very different.
Wow, it sounds like you guys have been at Work Truck Solutions have been extremely busy building those manufacturer relationships and finding ways to partner with them to help their respective dealer bodies. Now, look at these things, let's look at the things from a dealership level. Many of the dealers that I know are talking about the challenges that they're currently facing, saying times are a bit tough for a number of reasons, right? Such as interest rates and the unknown factor with the upcoming election, which that's a whole nother show we could spend some time on. But meaning leads are off for sure, since customers may be reluctant to purchase. Are you hearing this as well on the commercial side of the business? And if so, what are ways that you're helping dealers overcome the challenges to capitalize on commercial and fleet opportunities, both for dealers who are considering getting into the commercial business, the fleet business, as well as those that are already in the space?
Well, this is the part that I really love, Jim, because dealers are being asked by their OEMs to become consultants to their businesses in the market. Being a consultant, and what Jim was talking about, where people just walked in the door and you couldn't keep them on the shelf, right? That kind of, to being a consultant is a huge switch.
Yeah, that's right.
In skill sets and in approach and commitment.
That's right.
And so we're doing that. And what's so fun about that is commercial is really easy when you understand it to target the right customer. Yeah. And so you can become smart at that if you want to make that commitment, if you want to work with it. So we're doing things like we just released a benchmarking kind of scoring thing that dealers can use. I guess I could talk about it. We're getting ready to send out a PR on a new assessment that we've hired Merits to help dealers with, so that they can start off with a external third-party assessment of how they're doing, and 6 months later, after we start helping them, we're going to show them how the progress has been made. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, for sure. So great insight from both of you, and it's apparent that Work Truck Solutions team has built out some wonderful resources that demonstrate your dedication to this area of business, and those dealers who are in it. Helping them succeed is just a huge factor. Dealers need all the help they can get right now, no matter the market or the challenges, since all of us in the business know that it's very, dynamic and it's adapting is essential, right? I mean, there's no question that dealers are out there trying to find the answers to filling up their gross profit pockets again. And as you know, my feelings towards the commercial business has always been the same. And obviously, it's been great meeting you, Kathryn, because you bring this turnkey opportunity to dealers nationwide. So many dealers, didn't know where to start in many cases and weren't really sure of this business. I was one of those dealers at one point where I turned it away, said I don't want to get involved in it. Later, I was convinced to get involved in it. It was one of the best decisions I made as a dealer principal, and I recommend all dealers take a look at this very, very closely. Every single dealer out there right now is looking to add new revenue streams to their bottom line. The other avenue that I would say is that behind every commercial opportunity or every commercial deal you do, there's a non-commercial customer waiting there to be taken care of, right? Talk to me about that, Jim, because from the retail side, that person that comes in and says, hey, I've got a plumbing company and I need a truck or whatever the case might be. Guess what? They also have 2 or 3 cars in their driveway, right?
Absolutely. Just one comment, though, you mentioned about Kathryn. I got into this business. I've enjoyed commercial, and I'm learning this software part of the auto industry's future. And they put me together, the investment company put me together with work trucks, and I found something interesting. The expert in the world for commercial trucks is a young lady in Chico, California named Kathryn. I mean, she's been doing this since, I think, 12 years or 13 years. She started Ford Pro.
Right.
And so it gives me the thought, and as you said, grosses are off about 30%.
Yeah.
Even profits are off about 30%. Volume's not.
Yeah.
The answer isn't to reduce expenses. That's not the way you're going to get to a profit. The answer is to find new ways of finding revenue. And as you said, not only for service and for recurring sales, but these folks all drive cars themselves and trucks themselves. So it's a great way to expand the business without trying to save yourself into a profit.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You've got, in many cases, we've learned so much about running dealerships here ever since COVID hit, and how to run a more efficient operation, how to run a dealership on even less inventory. While we used to have 4 months supply, now we can do it in 2 months supply, or maybe even 30 days. Right. On the used car side, we thought we needed 60-day supply. Guess what? We found out we can run it on 20 or 30-day supply. You know what that leaves? A lot of opportunity in terms of lot availability to even have more inventory. And this opens up an enormous opportunity for dealers that are saying, what could I put right there on my lot that isn't a used car and isn't one of the new car vehicles that we're selling to consumers? And this just seems to be a perfect fit. I think the timing is right. I think the market is right. Needless to say, if anybody has ever called up and asked for a plumber to come by your home or an air conditioning, it takes a week just to get somebody to come by. They're busting at the seams. The money is there on the commercial side right now for all of these people, and they're growing their businesses. And in many cases, it starts with another truck or another fleet of trucks. As a dealer, why would you not want a piece of that business? Would you comment on that, Kathryn? I mean, I know that you're working with dealers all over. Is that pretty much what you're finding for the dealers that are on the program?
I think that it's even bigger than that, Jim. I think that, dealers are seeing that the commercial business leads to much higher margin for maintenance and service.
That's right.
And loyalty. And then because the way the OEMs are kind of rolling out new products, so we have fleet management opportunities to upsell.
Yep.
We have, charging and gas cards and other, mobile service. There's kind of a whole buffet now that if you are able to shift to this understanding consulting approach, right, where you're talking to a business about what they need, then you have not only vertical growth, but horizontal growth too.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Jim,
that's true.
You and I worked together at Toyota for a little while, and And I will tell you that dealers sometimes have blinders on, do they not? They know what they know. They run their dealerships maybe the way their parents ran them. And if the parents weren't into the fleet business, then they're not into the fleet business. If their parents ran a full-page ad, they ran a full-page. So this is one of those things that I would ask dealers to take your blinders off. Just because you haven't been in the commercial truck business before doesn't mean you shouldn't be in it now. So I would ask you to take a look at it, because it's 2024. It's about time that you at least explore it. Give Kathryn and her team a call. We're going to show all the information on the screen here. In 30 minutes, you can probably make your decision, but I'm sure you're going to make a decision to say, you know what, Jim, you're right. This is the way to go. And so I'd ask all of you to seriously consider, you know, this opportunity. This doesn't come along every day, and I would tell you that it's something that you owe it to yourself and your dealership and your family to open up this line of revenue. So any final thoughts, Kathryn, from you before we go to Jim, and then I'll let you guys get on with your day here.
Well, I just love this space. B2B is phenomenal. 80% of our GDP is provided by companies who use commercial vehicles. And when you think about it's the backbone of our economy, and how, you know, dealers can feel good about this. This is a great way to really get stronger in your community, understand your community, and support your community too.
That's right. That's right. And who doesn't want the back of every truck out there with the little logo of your dealership name, right, running all over?
Yeah, all over.
I'm telling you, that thing works, right? Whether it be a license plate frame or a sticker. But Jim, any final thoughts from you on this?
Well, sure. First, I admire you for recognizing the opportunity. You know, Jim, you're not quite as old as I am, but we can remember,
I'm right
especially
behind
from
you.
our JM family days.
That's right.
When F&I was a new frontier.
That's right. It was.
And people were experiencing that.
Yep.
It's now an embedded profit center in the companies,
That's
in
right.
our dealerships. Well, that's where commercial is today.
Yes.
And it's going to become that in the future, not only because of the profit and the growth opportunity, but also from a larger perspective, it's the threshold into mobility.
Yeah.
Where we'll be providing transportation and for support for fleets. So it's a future for dealers, and it's a business we can get in today. You know, you can remember, like I do, the old days when we prospect with a phone book. Well, they don't have to.
For you millennials, we'll show you what a phone book is later.
That's
But
right.
yeah, that's right. But yes.
Now, if you want to get into the business, just go to your current vendor list and start calling the plumbers and the electricians the people that are calling on your business, and get into this, because it's there, and those that are in it love the fact you're not.
Yeah, there's no question about it. No question about it.
Join the group.
Yep. It's about time. As I said, it's 2024, and right now you're crying maybe over some lost gross profit. Dealers, this is an opportunity to pick that gross profit up and also sell more retail units. So who doesn't want to do that? So Jim Press, Senior Advisor to Work Truck Solutions, former President of Toyota North America. This man knows what he's talking about, that's for sure. And of course, Kathryn Schifferle, Founder and Chief Vision Officer at Work Truck Solutions. Thank you again so much for joining me on the show. Whenever we run these shows about this topic, we get a ton of views and we get a ton of comments. So thank you so much for coming back again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for what you do too.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Driving Solutions, exclusively on CBTNews.com.